The cold, sterile conference hall buzzed with scientific energy as researchers and diplomats from across the galaxy gathered. Kim Jae-won adjusted his crisp white shirt, feeling slightly out of place among the alien delegates. At 28, he was the youngest aerospace engineer in the International Space Research Center's history. His fingers traced the quantum propulsion schematics on his tablet, each line representing months of painstaking research. Nearby, holographic displays flickered, with complex mathematical equations and star charts. Jae-won was so focused on his work that he didn't notice the alien diplomat approaching until her shadow fell across his documents. Rhea Kale stood nearly 6 feet tall, her skin shimmering with a soft, iridescent glow that seemed to change colors with her movements. Unlike many alien representatives who wore elaborate ceremonial attire, she dressed simply, a sleek silver jumpsuit that highlighted her elegant form. Her eyes, a deep emerald green, held an intelligence that was both ancient and curious. "Your calculations are interesting," she said, her voice smooth and melodic. No translator device needed. She spoke perfect Korean with almost imperceptible accent. Jae-won looked up, surprised. Most alien delegates barely acknowledged human researchers, let alone initiated conversation. "You understand quantum propulsion? Dynamics?" he asked, a hint of challenge in his voice. Rhea smiled, a gesture both familiar and alien. "My people have been traveling between stars long before humans looked up at the night sky," she replied. Not boastfully, but matter-of-factly. Their conversation began technically, discussing warp field generation, quantum entanglement, and interstellar travel mechanics. But something unexpected happened. Behind the scientific discussion, a connection formed. Jae-won's logical mind found itself intrigued by Rhea's perspective, which blended scientific precision with a kind of intuitive understanding he'd never encountered. The conference hall faded around them. Other researchers and diplomats became background noise as they dove deeper into discussion. Rhea's hand occasionally touched the holographic display, her movements creating intricate data patterns that seemed to dance with living energy. Jae-won noticed subtle things about her. The way her skin changed color slightly when discussing complex theoretical concepts, how her eyes would momentarily go unfocused, as if accessing some internal database of knowledge. She wasn't just listening, she was processing information at a level beyond human comprehension. "Most humans see technology as a tool," Rhea observed during their third hour of conversation. "Your species builds machines. My species integrates with them." Her statement hung in the air, profound in its simplicity. Jae-won realized this wasn't just a professional interaction anymore. Something deeper was happening. A connection that transcended professional boundaries. As the conference's first day concluded, they had covered topics ranging from quantum mechanics to interstellar diplomacy. Other researchers watched with a mixture of curiosity and confusion. A human and an alien, talking not as representatives of different species, but as intellectual equals. When the evening reception began, Rhea surprised Jae-won by inviting him to continue their discussion over dinner. Not a professional meeting, she specified, but a genuine exchange of ideas and perspectives. The research center's observation deck provided a perfect backdrop, city lights mixed with distant starlight, creating a canvas that seemed to mirror their conversation. Complex, beautiful, slightly mysterious. Jae-won would later remember this moment as the beginning of something extraordinary. Not just a professional collaboration or an interspecies diplomatic interaction, but the start of a journey that would challenge everything he understood about humanity's place in the universe. As they sat discussing faster-than-light travel theories, neither realized how profoundly this chance meeting would alter their lives, and potentially the course of human-alien relations. The stars outside seemed to watch, silent witnesses to a connection that was just beginning to take shape. 3 weeks after the conference, Jae-won's life had settled back into routine. His research lab felt smaller now, filled with familiar equipment and endless data streams. The memory of Rhea seemed like a fascinating but distant dream. Then the message arrived. Not through official channels, not via email or standard communication protocols. The message appeared directly on his personal tablet, its text shimmering, with an almost liquid quality. No sender information, just a series of complex symbols that momentarily transformed into readable text. Dinner, tomorrow. 8 p.m. Location coordinates attached. The coordinates weren't terrestrial. They represented a point in space that made no immediate geographic sense. Jaewon's scientific mind began analyzing, calculating distances, potential, astronomical references. He knew it was from Rhea. Unlike most would have done, Jaewon didn't panic or contact security. Instead, he prepared methodically. He selected a dark blue suit that looked professional yet comfortable, packed a small emergency communication device, and arranged subtle tracking with his research center's security team. The meeting location turned out to be a floating restaurant, quite literally suspended 500 meters above Seoul's skyline. Transparent floors allowed diners to see the city's breathtaking landscape below. Modern, elegant, with technology so advanced it seemed almost magical. Rhea was already waiting. She wore a deep emerald dress that seemed to change color subtly with her movements. No other alien delegates accompanied her. This was personal, not professional. "You came," she said, her smile revealing nothing and everything. Their conversation started casually. She asked about his recent research, shared insights, about her diplomatic missions. But Jaewon sensed an underlying purpose. Something significant was coming. Midway through their meal, Rhea made her proposition. "My family wants to meet you," she said simply. The statement was so unexpected that Jaewon momentarily forgot to breathe. Meeting an alien's family wasn't just unusual, it was unprecedented. Alien cultures were notoriously private, their social structures complex and often incomprehensible to humans. "Why me?" he asked. Rhea's response was both cryptic and direct. "Because you see beyond the obvious. Most humans categorize. You investigate. You understand that knowledge isn't just about collecting information, but about understanding connections. The invitation wasn't just a social gesture. It carried weight, potential diplomatic implications that extended far beyond a simple meeting. Her family lived in a region of space humans had never directly explored. Traveling there would require advanced clearance, complex biological preparations, and diplomatic permissions that could take months, if not years, to arrange. "You'll need to undergo specific medical evaluations," Rhea explained. "Our biological environments are substantially different." Jaewon listened carefully. Each word felt like entering uncharted territory. Not just a journey through space, but a potential journey between civilizations. The restaurant's ambient lighting changed, reflecting Rhea's emotional state, something he was gradually learning to interpret. Right now, it suggested a mixture of anticipation and careful calculation. "This isn't a typical diplomatic exchange," she continued. "This is a personal invitation. My family doesn't extend such offers casually." Background checks would later reveal minimal information about Rhea's specific alien lineage. Her diplomatic credentials were impeccable, but her personal history remained deliberately obscure. Jaewon understood he was being offered something extraordinary. Not just a travel opportunity, but a potential window into an entirely unknown civilization. "I'll need time to prepare," he said finally. Rhea's smile suggested she had expected nothing less. As they concluded their dinner, the city below continued its endless dance of lights and movement. Ordinary humans moved about their lives, unaware that something significant was brewing. A potential bridge between worlds. Jaewon knew his life would never be the same. The invitation had been extended. The journey was about to begin. The journey took 3 standard Earth weeks. Jaewon traveled in a specialized bioadaptive spacecraft designed to protect human physiology during interstellar travel. His body remained suspended in a carefully controlled preservation chamber, consciousness hovering between sleep and awareness. When he finally awakened, the first thing he noticed was the light. It wasn't sunlight as he understood it. The illumination came from multiple sources, crystalline structures that seemed to breathe with internal energy, floating particles that glowed softly, and a distant star that cast a deep purple-blue spectrum across the landscape. Rhea's homeworld was nothing like Earth. Massive floating islands hung in the atmosphere, connected by translucent bridges that looked like spider webs made of pure energy. Vegetation moved differently here, plants that seemed part organic, part mechanical, responding to unseen environmental signals. His protective suit monitored everything: temperature, atmospheric composition, radiation levels. Each reading was transmitted back to Earth, creating the most comprehensive first-contact environmental data ever collected. Rhea's family residence was a massive structure that defied traditional architectural understanding. It wasn't built so much as grown. Organic materials merged with technological systems, creating living spaces that adapted and changed moment by moment. Her parents waited in a circular chamber. They looked similar to Rhea but different, older, with more complex energy patterns surrounding their bodies. The mother's skin shifted colors continuously, while the father remained a constant deep midnight blue. No traditional greetings happened. Instead, a complex energy exchange occurred. Something between a scan, a communication, and an emotional assessment. Jaewon felt their collective consciousness brush against his mind. Not invasive, but curious, probing, analyzing every aspect of his being. "You are different," the father finally spoke. His voice sounded like multiple tones playing simultaneously. "Most species we encounter are predictable. Your kind is not." The mother moved closer. Her touch wasn't physical, but energetic. Jaewon could feel her examining his memories, his emotional landscape, his potential. They were evaluating him, not as a potential mate for their daughter, not as a diplomatic representative, but as a representative of an entire species. Meals were not what humans would recognize. Energy transfers that contained nutritional and informational components. Each bite was a complex communication, sharing not just sustenance but knowledge and emotional states. Jaewon learned quickly. Adaptation was survival here. The first day passed in a blur of sensory experiences that challenged everything he understood about communication, biology, and existence. His scientific training was both a blessing and a limitation. These beings operated on principles that went beyond current human understanding. Rhea watched him carefully, sometimes proud, sometimes concerned. Her family's assessment would determine more than just their personal relationship. During one remarkable moment, Jaewon discovered their technology didn't distinguish between living and non-living systems. Everything was a potential information carrier. Machines were alive, thoughts were tangible, emotions could be measured, transferred, transformed. "Humans are interesting," the father said during their third interaction. "You build walls between things: emotion, logic, technology, living, non-living. We see everything as a continuous flow of energy and information." Jaewon realized he was part of something much larger than a personal journey. He was a bridge, a potential connection between two fundamentally different ways of understanding existence. As the first day concluded, he understood one thing clearly: nothing would ever be the same again. The alien world continued its complex dance around him, breathing, changing, waiting, and Jaewon was ready. The ritual began without warning. One moment Jaewon stood in a crystalline chamber, observing the intricate patterns of Rhea's family space. The next, everything changed. The walls shifted, becoming a living membrane that pulsed with energy and intent. 3 holographic figures materialized, representations of Rhea's family elders. They weren't human-like projections, but abstract energy formations that moved and communicated through complex color patterns and vibrational frequencies. "The assessment begins," Rhea whispered, her hand briefly touching his. The first challenge was mental. Jaewon found himself experiencing multiple realities simultaneously. One moment he was solving a complex mathematical problem, the next navigating an emotional landscape where thoughts became physical barriers he needed to break through. His scientific training became both a tool and a limitation. These challenges weren't about right or wrong answers, but about adaptability, emotional intelligence, and cognitive flexibility. The second phase tested his problem-solving skills. A simulated environmental crisis appeared, a collapsing planetary system that required immediate intervention. But the solutions weren't linear. Each decision created multiple dimensional consequences that he had to anticipate and manage. Jae-won realized this wasn't just a test. It was a comprehensive evaluation of human potential. Rhea's father watched carefully. His energy signature changed, with each of Jae-won's decisions, creating a complex feedback loop of assessment and response. The third challenge was the most intense. A direct consciousness transfer that allowed the alien elders to experience Jae-won's entire life history. Every memory, every emotion, every hidden fear and aspiration became transparent. Most beings would have broken under such exposure. Jae-won remained calm. His years of scientific training had taught him emotional discipline. Where others might panic, he analyzed. Where others might fear, he observed. The elders were impressed. Humans were typically seen as primitive, technology-dependent, creatures with limited understanding. But Jae-won demonstrated something different, a unique ability to adapt, to understand complex systems, to maintain emotional balance under extreme pressure. The final challenge combined physical and mental elements. Jae-won had to navigate a rapidly changing environment that responded to his thoughts, emotions, and unconscious impulses. Walls became liquid, gravity shifted, reality itself became a malleable concept. He didn't just survive, he began to understand. Each challenge revealed more about human potential than any diplomatic mission ever could. Jae-won wasn't just representing himself, he was representing an entire species. Rhea watched with a mixture of pride and anticipation. Her family's assessment could change everything, not just for her and Jae-won, but for potential human alien relationships. As the final moments of the ritual approached, something unexpected happened. The alien elders began to see humans not as a young, aggressive species, but as a potential partner in galactic exploration. Jae-won's calm approach, his ability to process complex information, his emotional resilience, these were qualities that transcended cultural boundaries. When the ritual concluded, silence filled the chamber. The holographic elders exchanged complex energy patterns. Rhea held her breath. Jae-won remained perfectly still, waiting. Interesting, the lead elder finally communicated. The word carried multiple layers of meaning: respect, curiosity, potential. Jae-won had passed more than a test. He had opened a door between two civilizations. As the chamber's energy slowly returned to normal, Rhea approached him. Her touch was different now, filled with a new level of respect and understanding. "You are not what we expected," she said softly. Outside, the alien world continued its complex dance. Planets moved, stars pulsed, and something fundamental had changed. A bridge had been created, between species, between worlds, between understanding. The aftermath of the ritual was not what anyone expected. Jae-won's body began changing subtly, not physically, but at a cellular level. His neural pathways developed increased complexity, allowing him to process information in ways previously impossible for humans. Rhea's family observed these changes with intense scientific curiosity. What had begun as a simple diplomatic introduction was transforming into something far more significant. During a quiet moment, Rhea's father explained the unexpected development. "Your species has potential beyond your current understanding," he told Jae-won. The words carried multiple layers of meaning, part warning, part invitation, part profound recognition. The research teams back on Earth would be stunned. Jae-won was becoming a living bridge between human and alien consciousness. His brain could now interpret complex multidimensional communication that would have been impossible weeks earlier. Diplomatic channels began buzzing with unprecedented activity. The Alien Council saw in Jae-won something remarkable, a human who could truly understand their complex communication systems, not just as an observer, but as a potential participant. Rhea watched the transformation with a mixture of professional fascination and personal connection. Their relationship had moved beyond romance. They were becoming something else entirely, partners in a potential galactic understanding. The first public demonstration came unexpectedly. During a standard communication test, J1 demonstrated ability to simultaneously process information across multiple dimensional frequencies. Where humans typically saw linear communication, he now perceived intricate networks of interconnected knowledge. He is no longer just human, one alien council member observed. The transformation wasn't just about enhanced abilities. J1's entire perspective had changed. He could now see connections between systems that previously seemed completely unrelated. Scientific problems that had stumped researchers for decades suddenly became comprehensible. Earth's scientific community would be both excited and terrified. Rhea's family began preparing documentation, not just a scientific report, but a comprehensive analysis of human potential. J1 had become living proof that humanity was capable of extraordinary evolutionary jumps. The personal implications were equally profound. J1 and Rhea's relationship had transcended traditional boundaries. They were no longer just a mixed-species couple. They represented a potential new form of interspecies communication and understanding. Technological transfer became a real possibility. The alien civilization began considering humanity not as a primitive species but as potential partners in advanced research and exploration. J1's neural network could now process complex quantum information almost instantaneously. Where humans typically required complex computer systems to perform advanced calculations, he could now do them through pure cognitive processing. The transformation wasn't complete, but it was significant. "We are witnessing something unprecedented," Rhea's mother said during a council meeting. Her energy pattern suggested a mixture of excitement and cautious optimism. News would eventually reach Earth, not through traditional communication channels, but through a complex multi-dimensional signal that would require years to fully decode. J1 represented more than a personal success story. He was a living demonstration of human adaptability, a proof that intelligence was not fixed, but a continuously evolving system capable of extraordinary transformations. As the alien world continued its complex existence around him, J1 stood at the center of a potential revolution. Not just in scientific understanding, but in how different species might perceive and interact with each other. The bridge had been built. Humanity's first true representative had been chosen, and everything was about to change.